In this photo you can see a properly loaded and secured kayak on a vehicle. The vehicle has a factory installed rack system including crossbars. Onto the crossbars are mounted what are called J cradles. The boat is nestled in the J cradles and secured to the rack and the cradles with red cam buckle straps. Those are 1-inch nylon straps with a cam buckle. In addition, there's a knot tied, so if the cam buckle fails, it will still stay secure. And notice that we have bow and stern lines also securing the boat to the vehicle. So this vehicle has 4-point contact with the boat, and this can travel at freeway speeds. This is a closer view of the cam buckle on that vehicle, and the knot at the base is there so that if the cam buckle spring were to fail, the knot would still at least partially hold the boat in place. The boat would have to be raised up and over the J cradles, which is very unlikely. It might rattle around and the driver would notice some noise and possible vibration and be able to correct that rather than losing the boat onto the roadway. This is another example of a half hitch at a cam buckle. Notice that the strap is very short. There's no strap left in excess, and this strap is acceptable, but if you have multiple boats and one might be wider than another, you would want longer straps to accommodate a wider boat. This rack system is using saddles, which are proprietary. Different manufacturers have different shaped saddles that cradle the boat on top of the car. Some vehicles have the crossbars very close together, and if you look at this system, which is properly loaded and secured, there is a long distance between the bow of the boat and the first crossbar. And in a situation like this, going down the freeway at highway speeds, there would be a lot of torque on this system. So if you have a system like this, you really do need the bow and stern lines to help support the boat on top of the car rack. This person is using a ratchet strap system that you could buy at a hardware store. Notice also that there is a loop coming out from underneath the car hood. The loop can be attached to the vehicle either by a grommet and a screw that goes into a quarter panel on the inside of the car hood, or some of these loops are made with a little piece, about 6-inch piece of PVC pipe. So you simply lay it on the inside of the hood, close the hood, and that prevents the strap from being pulled through. This picture shows one of the least expensive ways to secure your boat to your car. If your car already comes with a rail and crossbar system, you can simply buy a piece of or 2 pieces of foam. They make the foam either to accept a round crossbar or an oblong crossbar, oblong in this case, and then you just set your boat on top of the foam and you use a cam strap to secure the boat to the crossbar. Some vehicles like this Tesla do not come with a rack or rail system pre-installed on the vehicle, so you can go to a commercial vendor and have them install one professionally. Here's an example of crossbars permanently mounted onto a pickup truck canopy, and the owner is handy with woodwork, as you can see, and he was able to fashion his own cradle onto the crossbars to secure his boat. This vehicle came with rails but no crossbars, so you can purchase crossbars to mount onto a rail system. And this person has J cradles on the far side that are holding the blue boat. On the near side there are a set of saddles in the front and something called holy rollers in the back. So when you load a boat onto the near side, you can roll the boat onto the rollers and then let it nestle onto the saddles in the front and secure everything down. Here is another example of mounting a rack system onto a pickup, this time not to a canopy but to the cab. This is a four-door pickup. So this pickup did not come with a rail or crossbar system, so the mounts here are Thule, and the crossbars have wings on them as a type of a saddle. And if you're using a system like this, you just have to be careful that all of the pieces and parts match, because one mount for a specific car may not fit another car. So sometimes you have to go to a commercial vendor and have it professionally sized and mounted. Here's an example of a boat being held in place by three attachment points. We have a bow line and a forward and rearward saddle system. And this would be secure as long as none of the points of attachment fail. I would rather see 4 points of attachment, so that if one of the attachment points were to fail, you would still have 3 attachment points holding the boat to the vehicle. Here's a system that's useful for a lot of people, especially if they need to carry um, 3, 4, 5, 6 boats, and some of us do at times want to carry 2 or 3 boats each. Also is good for people who can't lift a boat onto the top of their vehicle. We can use a trailer. So trailers have some advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are multiple boats, don't have to lift as high. Disadvantages, you have the upkeep and the licensing fees. Here's another example of mounting a kayak onto a high vehicle. So this canopy has a factory installed rail system that mates with the Yakima mount system. Then the Yakima mounts have crossbars, and on top of the crossbars are elevators. Then the kayak, for this kayak, notice that there is a flag in the back. The kayak sticks further than 3 feet out from the back bumper of the vehicle, so it does need to be properly flagged. You may have seen flags in some of the other vehicles as well. This is an example of a trucker's hitch, which is used to tighten and secure a bow or stern line. This video will not go into how to tie one, but you can go onto YouTube and see how to tie a trucker's hitch. For some boats like this one, where the back deck is not high enough to be secured by a strap going through the loops in a elevator, a spacer is used, and then the cam buckle straps are putting force down onto that foam spacer, which then pushes onto the deck of the boat. This is what a elevator system looks like when it's ready to receive a boat. So the elevators are pulled down off of the crossbars, and there's a spring mechanism and a lock. So it locks in place. You load your boat sideways onto the rack, and then there's a spring system that helps assist it up on top of the vehicle. The disadvantage of a elevator system is cost. They are expensive. And you should note that all of these systems have locks available for them, not just the elevator, but the saddles, the crossbars. This is an expensive appliance to put on your vehicle, and you should be getting locks for them.